the real life, what is it? Entities. Again, I repeat. Class and objects are the basic concept of object-oriented programming, which revolve around the, what is it? Real life entities. A class is a user-defined blueprint, or we can say prototype. Class is a user-defined blueprint or prototype of something. So I am going to explain in much detail. Class is a user-defined blueprint or prototype from which objects are, what is it, created. Now more clear. Class is a user-defined blueprint or prototype from which any object gets, what is it, created. Isn't it clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. And one more thing we discussed in the previous class. Any class is going to have set of members. What is it? Members. And there, what is it? Member methods. So this point, please remember here. While declaring a class, the class may contain what? Members, whatever data members, and the, what is it? Member function. So that point I can highlight in a much clearer way. And that is what basically a class. Can you mute yourself, please? Amar, while attending class, you see the where I'm sitting, right? You sometimes get unmuted and you forget that I'm unmuted and some other sound will come from your end. That makes disturb to me as well as all other members. That is your responsibility. Should take care, sir. No need of saying sorry, sir. This is not a one-time happening. It happened number of times. This is a responsibility. You should take it, please.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what is meaning of yes and what is meaning of sorry. I don't understand. It's not look good that every day we need to teach you how to attend the class. Either sit among the family member, either sit somewhere alone place, separate place and attend only class. Otherwise, my side also a lot of sound is there. If you start playing my side sound, you cannot attend 1 minute also class. You leave the class and making the complaint that I'm unable to hear what you are speaking. That think in that way. Better everybody mute yourself, please. Do not unmute, because if people are sitting into, I think, on the road only. Just see how I'm managing. From my side, any sound is going. A class is a user-defined blueprint or prototype from which objects are created. Basically, a class combines the fields and methods. It is also called as a member function, which defines actions whenever the functions called up, right? So again, I repeat, basically a class combines the fields and the what? Methods. The methods also known as what? Member function. And fields known as what? Data member. So that's what we say. A class may contain data member and their function, right? And function define the action to perform whenever the function gets called up into a single unit, right? In C sharp, you know, class means classes, right? In C sharp, classes supports polymorphism, inheritance, and also provide the concept of derived class and base class, etc. Right? So these all we have to learn that. Like in C sharp class, how to work on the polymorphism, how to work on the inheritance, how to work on the concept of base class, how to work on the concept of derived class. These are all part of the major object-oriented programming, right?
Yes, sir.
But we can't utilize those all features of the object-oriented programming unless until we know the basic concept. The name is a class, and what is it?
Object.
So very, very important point. Class and objects are the basic concept of object-oriented programming, which revolve around the real-life entities. A class is a user-defined blueprint or prototype from which objects are created. Basically, a class combines the fields and what is it? Methods, right? Fields called as a member, method called a what is it? Member function, right?
Yes, sir.
Into a single unit. Now we are going to learn about declaration of the class. What is it? Declaration of class. Please recall the previous session what we discussed. Some of the important point. Right. Declaration of class. Generally a class declaration contains only a keyword, what is it? Keyword. Which one? Class. Only a keyword, what is it? Class. And then followed by identifier, nothing but called name of the class. So what is it? Followed by an identifier. Identifier is nothing but name of the class, right? Name of the, what is it? Class. That is simple syntax. Class keyword followed by one identifier, which is the name of the class. But there are some optional attributes can be used, but there are some optional attributes that can be used with class declaration according to the application requirement. According to the application requirement. What are those, sir? In general, class declaration can include these components, right? These components in order, in one order. In which order? First it may contains modifier, or we can say specifier, right or not? Modifier.
Yes, sir.
Or somebody
Yes,
say
sir.
what is it? Specifier. I hope you know what are the modifier or specifier we have. We have discussed earlier: private, public, right? Protected, internal, protected, internal. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So here a class can be a class, can be public or what is it? Internal. A class can be public or what is it? Internal. Etc. Right or not?
Yes, sir.
By default, modifier or by default specifier, right? Modifier or specifier of the class is, anybody knows? Of the class is, earlier also I have discussed, internal. By default, modifier or specifier means people ask, interviewer asks, hey, what is the default modifier or specifier of the class? So you must answer it is what?
Internal.
Internal, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next one. After specifying modifier specifier, if you are not specifying, the default specifier is what? Internal, right? And
Yes,
internal
sir.
means it can be accessed. It can be accessed within the application assembly, but not out of the application assembly. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Keyword. What is a keyword? Class. After a specifier or modifier, then one keyword. Which keyword? Class keyword. Which keyword? Class keyword.
Class keyword.
A class keyword is used to declare the type class. Remember this. Then followed by you are using class identifier. Identifier is nothing but name of the class, right? The name of the class. So I can say the variable of type class is provided. So class identifier is nothing but variable of the type class is provided, and it is called as what? Identifier. Identifier means what? Name of the class. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
The identifier, nothing but we can say the identifier, we can say, or name of the class, right? Should begin with an initial letter which should be capitalized by the convention, which should be capitalized by what is that? Convention, right? Convention is not mandatory, but it is a standard, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. In the previous class, I told you the name of the class should be start with the alphabet A to Z, either small letter or the capital letter, followed by number, followed by underscore. Please recall this one. Rules for naming class, right or not? A class
Yes,
name must begin with a letter and can be followed by a sequence of a letter A to Z, digit 0 to 9 or underscore. Number one. Special characters such as these all cannot be used in the class name. Class name must not be the same as a reserved keyword, such as using keyword, public keyword, whatever C# has a number of reserved keyword, right or not?
Yes, sir.
And earlier we discussed there are many reserved keyword, so those keyword names should not be used as a name of the class, right?
Yes, sir.
Convention for naming class name must be meaningful, right? By the anybody seeing your class name, person can understand what exactly happening, right? Naming of class can be done either using Pascal case, where the first character is capital and the rest are in a small letter, or using the camel case, in which first letter is in a small case but the first letter of each successive word is in what? Caps lock, right or not? Example like this. The conventions are not mandatory, but it is a best practice, abiding by which allows others to easily understand our code, right or not?
Yes, sir.
So these are all points we need to add it and we need to understand, right?
Yes, sir.
Here I'm giving summarized form. The class identifier, the variable of the type class is provided. Nothing but identifier, or we can say name of the class, right? Should what is it? Should begin with an initial letter. Letter means what? A to Z letter, which should be capitalized by the what? Convention in real time, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Understood or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. Right. Correct. Cleared?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If this class is derived from the another class, if this class derived from the another class, so if this class derived from another class become the base class, another class become the super class, another class become the parent class, right or not?
Yes, sir.
So every time your class deriving from the another class is not mandatory, right? Maybe requirement comes, maybe not requirement comes. If you want to acquire some feature of the parent class in your current class, then require this current class to derive from the what? Another base class, right or not? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. That how you what you give base class after the class identifier name, you use the what name? Base class, or what is it? Super class. Somebody say what is it? Super class. Somebody say parent class, right or not? So what is that? The name of the class. What is it? Class. What is it? Parent class. What is it? Parent, which is called as come on, base class. What called as? Come on.
Yes, sir.
Base class. So any class parent is what is that? Base class, super class, है ना?
Yes.
If any, I'm putting under if any, then proceeded by the what is that? Colon. By the what is that? Come on, colon. By the what is that? Colon. And this is what? Not mandatory, optional, depends on your application development need. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Not proceeded, preceded. Preceded, preceded. So if any base class found, so it is preceded by the what is it? By the what is it? Colon. By the what is it? Colon. Right. So the base class name to be preceded. Preceded means what? Before. What is it? Colon. After the class identifier name, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Something like this, you'll be writing what is it? Suppose public class keyword, class identifier name demo, and it is acquiring some properties, acquiring some feature from parent, then parent class name preceded with what? Colon, and the parent class name what is nothing but sample, right? So this says this class demo acquiring something from their parent. Who's that?
Base class.
Sample, right or not?
Yes.
So when required to give base class, super class name preceded with a colon, when you want to make your class to acquire something from the parent class. So it is a mandatory or optional? Optional, because every time not requirement come to acquire something from the other class, right or not?
Yes, sir.
You might also require your class to implement some given interface, some given what is it? Interface. So what exactly interface? In real-time interface, in which circumstances required to use, that we'll see a bit later as we have separate topic. So interface. Interface just contain the nothing but what you call skeleton, do not have any, what is it? The implementation. Implementation happen by the specific class, right or not?
Yes, sir.
One class can implement n number of interface. So interfaces, a comma separated, right? List of what is it? Interfaces implemented, right, by the, what is it? Class. A comma separated list of interfaces implemented by the class. I'm putting condition, if any then only, if any then preceded, preceded by the whom, colon, by the whom, what is that? Colon. Symbol is what? This one, right? Got my point? Preceded by the what? Colon.
Yes, sir.
Right. A class can implement more than one, what is it? Interface. And this is also, what is that? Optional. Depends on your application development need, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Then in order class body, so the class body means the class containing all code to have the class field, have the class function, right or not? Member function, right? So the class body is surrounded by opening curly brace and closing curly braces, right or not? Curly braces. Very clear the concept. So to create class only required modifier and the keyword class and the class identifier. Even the modifier is not giving, no problem, default is internal. So only class keyword and class identifier, nothing but name of the class. The base class, the interface, right? The body, right? Body required, but your class going to derive from the base class. Your class going to implement an interface is not mandatory. The all are what? Depends on our application requirement. So I told here, generally a class declaration contains only a keyword. What is that? Come on.
Class.
A keyword, what is it? Class. Right? Followed by identifier, the name of the class, right?
Yes, sir.
But there are some optional attributes that can be used with the class declaration according to application requirement.
Yes,
Optional, I can say components. Optional attributes, you can say, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Here you can say optional components. But there are some optional components that can be used with the class declaration according to application requirement. In general, class declaration can include these components in order, like first modifier component, keyword component, name of the class component, any class derived from the base class, any class implement interface, then finally class, what is it? Body.
Yes, sir.
This is what people need to understand.
Yes, sir.
And the class may contain the, what is it? Class may contain the, what is it? Member, and what is it? Member function. Member means class field, and function means the method which is used to invoke whenever the function gets called up, right or not?
Yes, sir.
And class naming, you should have the what? This one. So class name can be anything that follow the, what is it? Come on. Naming rules. Naming, what is it?
Rules.
Rules, which is the very, very important. So this also I can add it in the here, right? So class name can be what? Anything. right? But of course, must have the word meaningful name, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Because of with meaningful, it is giving some idea to us what it is going to be happen, right?
Yes, sir.
But class name can be anything that follows the naming rule. Rule for the what is it? Naming classes. First rule, come on. First rule is a class name must begin with a letter and can be followed by a sequence of A to Z letter, or right here we can have small a to Z, right or not?
Yes, sir.
So here I'm giving A to Z or a small a to what is it? Nothing but Z, right? Clear the point?
Yes, sir.
So write A to Z, or we can write small a to what is it? Z. Small z. Any digits 0 to 9 or any what is it? Underscore. Special characters, right? Such as this all, right? Cannot, right?
Use.
Cannot be used in the what? Class names. Cannot be used in the what is that? Class name. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
Next, a class name must not be the same as result keyword, right, of C#, such as using public and many more, etc. Right or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
A class name must not be the same as a result keyword of C#, such as using public or any other private, as, is, a lot of keywords are there. Convention for naming class. A class name must be, come on, meaningful. Naming of the class can be either in the Pascal case, right? Right, or camel case, right or not?
Yes.
Right. All right. This one. The conventions are not mandatory, but best practice, abiding by which allows other programmers to easily understand our
code.
Right or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So hope till here the concept is very much cleared.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This interview may ask, you can speak up about this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the order of those components in this only what mandatory keyword class and identifier, the name of the class. Remaining all depends on our application requirement. We may use or we may not use.
Yes, sir.
Now, the next point is there is one concept available. If we talk about class, is nothing but contain the member and member method. So in method, constructor also come. We will see a detailed discussion of constructor a bit later.
Yes.
Right. So here I'm adding one point. Constructors in a class are used for what is it? Initializing. Used for what is it? Initializing new objects. Constructor in class are used for initializing the what is it?
New object.
New object. So we will see in detail about the constructor and the all object, right? So whenever class you are going to instantiate, then only new object gets created, right or not?
Yes, sir.
And then for that, what member we have, you want to initialize with initial value that we can do using constructor, because constructor is one special method which invoke whenever the class object gets created. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So constructor in class are used for initializing the what is that?
New objects.
New objects. Fields are nothing but class field, or what is that? Variables are variables that provide the state of the class, and its objects, and the methods. Method means what? Functions, member functions, right or not? Are used to what is that? Implement the behavior. Implement the behavior of the what is that? Class and its what is that? Objects. So constructors in the class are used for initializing, new objects with initial value of their class member. Fields are the variables that provide the what? State of the class and its object, and methods are used to implement the behavior of the class and what is it? Its
Objects.
Clear the point?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So we have one behavior, no? As a human being object, we have one behavior, right? As a part of the human being class. That is, we can laugh, we can cry, we can walk.
Yes, sir.
So the all comes in what? Behavior, right or not?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. So by following these all above in the last session, this is the word keyword and the name of the class, opening body, closing body. This is the only mandatory. In this, not using any
Specify.
In this, we cannot use any, we are not using any access modifier, not using the base class and all. Right? Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Those all we may require to use. Those all we may require to use depends on our application requirement, right? But not
Yes, sir.
mandatory that always we use that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And this is the example what we have noticed, right? Class name, either having the class fields, nothing but data member, and the class, what is that? Member
Member
function, right or not?
Yes, sir.
All right. Clear the point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So let's come over here. Example. In the example, declaring one class as public class. By default, the class is
Internal.
internal. But I want to create the class as a public class. I have to use a class keyword before one modifier, na?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So coming to the code part, in the same file, I'm going to write public access specifier or modifier, class keyword, and the class name. With what name you want to create, it depends on your requirement. Class name could be anything, but should have some meaningful, right? Or not, as per the convention.
Yes, sir.
So in the last session, we have given the class name as what? Student, and have the two data member. One is what? Name, and one age. And we have the one function for display this name and age value, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hope you are understanding the things.
Yes, sir.
So here you observe. And if you're not giving the before class keyword any access modifier or specifier, by default internal, but I want to make as a public, it's a public. And this class not going to use to derive from any base class because my application requirement is not there. This class not implementing an interface, so not using colon an interface name. It's a public class name. So I can write a statement. It is a declaring of which class? public class
Public.
by using the word public keyword, right or not?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
And this data member nothing but class filled variable. It is what?
Field.
Filled variable. Filled, what is that?
Variables.
Variables. Right or not?
Yes.
Which filled variable? Class filled variables, right? Also we can say data member, right or not? And this is what? Member function. This is what is that? Member function. Or we can say member method. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Name
Yes,
is
sir.
display. Console right line, name displaying, and what age displaying, right? Name placeholder. Here what? First parameter name will come. First parameter what? Name will come. Right? And age, right here, age will come. Right. Now observe here. Observe here. What happening? The name. Ambiguity between student.name and student.name. Do we have student class? In the previous session we have done one separate student.cs file we have created, right or not? That's what ambiguity problem is coming. So what we'll do that? We will remove this student.cs file, right? And we have created student class in this session into the same file. The name is program.cs only, right or not? Clear the point, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is what we are going to keep here. All right. So declare public class with this class filled variables and the class what is that? Member functions or methods. In this no constructor available. If you are not keeping constructor by default, going to have a default constructor. That rules regulation we'll see bit later. So initial level, you need to understand class is combination of the what is that? Class filled variable and the class what is that?
Method.
Methods, nothing but member function. Right or not?
Yes, sir.
And see, the public access specifier has been used in order to allow the data members, this one, for this one, and member function to be visible from outside of the class. So we know already all access modifier. If any class containing member and member function available with the public, that indicate this can be accessed out of this class by using their object name, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This one, this one. So I can highlight this point. The public access specifier, right, for the public access specifier has been used in order to allow the data member and functions, to be visible, to be accessible from outside the what is that class, right or not? I'm talking about this one, this public. So the public access specifier for the what? Class filled variables, or we can say also what? Data member, right or not? Filled variables are nothing but what is that? Data members. Data, what is that? Data, what is that? Members.
Members.
And what is that? Member, what is that? Functions. To be visible, or we can say to be accessible from outside the
Class.
Got my point?
Yes, sir.
And this public using at the class level to make this class to be used into other assembly apart from this project assembly, right? I hope I'm clearing your complete concept in a very simple way.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because you know, object-oriented programming, next 10 days, 15 days we are going to learn. If this is very cleared, then C# is cleared. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
If this is a have doubt, then it means C# is what? Useless. You do not know anything about C#. That's what I'm trying to explain each and every point in a very right scratch level to high end level, and I'll provide these all notes to you so that once you remember my all point, these all notes, all the programs, nobody can dominate you in the C# programming language, especially into object-oriented programming concept. And in the all interview, they're asking maximum 90% above question from C# with the what concept? OOPS concept.
Object-oriented concept.
Yes, correct. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So in order to access this class field variable, this member function, we need to have a class object. Then only we can access, right? Otherwise, we can't access. So for that purpose, we have to understand about object, which is an instance of the class, or we can say physical entity of the class, which occupied the some space. Object contains the what members and their what methods to access, right or not? So here we need to discuss about what is that? Objects. Objects. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Right. Just give me 2 minutes, then I'll continue this one. Objects, right? 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Recording stopped. Yeah, I'm back now.
So please observe here.
Recording in progress.
All right. So we need to discuss now objects. Try to understand the point. It is a basic unit of object oriented programming. It is a basic unit of object oriented programming and represents real life, what is that, entities. It is a basic unit of object oriented programming and represents, what is that,
Real life entities.
Real life entities.
real life entities. Object. A typical C# program creates many objects. Creates, what is that, many objects, which as you know, right, interact by invoking methods invoking, what is that, methods. Yes. So any typical C# program, console program, tomorrow desktop application program, tomorrow ASP.NET Core web application program, right? Any typical C# program creates, what is it, many objects, which as you know, right, interact by invoking, what is it, methods, right or not? So we can say the object is nothing but real entity of our prototype, real entity of our blueprint, right or not?
Yes.
Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Real
sir.
entity of the any blueprint. It is, we can say it is an instance of the class. It is an, what is that, instance of the class. An object consists of an object consists of, you know, what is that, their state, behavior, next identity. These three things are important. Any object consists of their state, their behavior, and their, what is it, identity. Somewhat on a high level I'm trying to provide you information, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Generally in the general classes people do not teach this concept, right?
Yes, sir.
They will say simply how to create the object of the class, that's all.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. It is represented by attributes of an object, what is it, object. It is represented by attributes of an, what is it, object.
Objects.
It also reflects the properties of an object, what is it, object.
Objects.
So state is represented by attributes of an object. It also reflects the properties of an, what is it?
Objects.
Object. We will see. We'll see to whom we are calling state, to whom we are calling the attributes, to whom we are calling the properties of the object. Got my point or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Behavior. Behavior is provide some functionality, right or not?
Yes, sir.
For example, I am the one person object. Rakesh
Yes.
Singh is the one person object, right?
Yes, sir.
You people also one person object.
Yes, sir.
Belong to which class? Person class, human being class, right or
Human
not?
being class. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. So we have, what is it? Some state. We have some behavior and we have some identity, right? People say, hey, you know, I have my own identity in the market, right or not? Come on.
Yes, sir.
People say, I have my own identity in the market, in my family, right?
Right.
Means you have your own name, something, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Behavior. We have some functionality to perform, right? We can speak.
Yes.
We can speak. We can cry. We can walk. We can run. Come on.
Yes, sir. Is behavior, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
The
sir.
behavior of the, what is it? Any object, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. State, nothing but the class, the what field available, the field, nothing but data member, right or not? The property also comes under data member. The
Yes, sir.
example will ask, right? How many hands? 2 hands, right?
2 hands.
How many legs? 2 legs.
2
right?
legs. Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Which color of t-shirt you have? Right now, red, right? Tomorrow maybe you are wearing other t-shirt with a green color, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So they all comes in what? State. So state is represented by the what? Attributes
Attribute
of an object. It also reflects the properties of an object. Attribute means class, field, class, variable. Data member, right?
Yes, sir.
And behavior. It is represented. It is represented by the, what is it? Methods of an, what is it? Object. By the methods of an
Object.
It also reflects. It also reflects the response of an object. The response of an, what is it? Object with the other objects. With, what is it? Other objects. Let me repeat about behavior. It is represented by the methods of an object, like display method available above in
Yes,
the
sir.
class that going to access by the object. When we call display method, displaying the name value and the what age value.
Yes, sir.
So behavior is represented by the behavior of an object. It also reflects the response of an object with, what is it? With, what is it? Other objects. Maybe in this class, in this method, there is a possibility in this method you may call method by using other object. You may call method of other object. Come on. Come on.
Yes, sir.
In this method of this class, you may require to access the method of other object. We can have it. This kind of
Yes, sir.
requirement come then, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
That is what I'm saying, that when we create the object of this class, so it also reflects the response of an object with what? Other
object.
objects. Yes. That's the point you need to understand. Coming to identity, it gives a unique name of an object, a name to an object, It gives a, what is it? unique name to an, what is it, object, and enables, what is it, one object, and enables one object to interact with other objects, with come on, other objects, right? So identity means what? It gives a unique name to an object, and enables means allows one object to interact with the, what is that,
Other object.
other objects. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So these 3 points are clear.
Yes, sir.
What is that? State. Second, behavior.
And identity.
And third, what
Identity.
is that?
Identity.
Identity. Got my point or not?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now observe. Now observe. Sir, can we have a real example? Can we have the, what is it? One a real example. Here, consider person as an what is
Object.
it?
Object.
Object. And see the below diagram. See the below, what is it? Diagram for its identity. Next is state, right? And what is it?
Behavior.
Behavior, right or not?
Yes.
If we talk about the identity, right? In this, what we say, name of the person. Name of the, what is it? Person is identity. I'm the one person. My name is Rakesh Singh. So it is comes under what? Identity, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Coming to state or what is it?
Attribute.
Attributes. In this, we have like age. What is my age, right or not?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What is my weight? Yes.
Yes.
What is my height, right or not?
Yes,
This all
sir.
comes under state. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What is my color? Fair color, this color, that color, right or not?
Yes,
So
sir.
age, weight, height of the person. They all comes under what?
State or attribute.
Attributes. Now coming to behavior. Behavior. Right. We can speak, right?
Laughing.
We can speak. We can walk, right or not?
Yes, sir.
We can run, right? We can laugh, right? We can eat, right? These
Yes, sir.
all are the behavior, right? People
Yes,
say,
sir.
"Nah, he's not speaking, he's not behaving anything. Maybe he's not speaking, he's not walking, he's not smiling, he's not running, he's not laughing, he's not eating," right?
Yes, sir.
If we start behaving, then this person is behaving something, right or not?
Yes, sir.
So in behaving, all those things will come, right?
Yes, sir.
So any object consists of these 3 things in real life entity: the state, the behavior, and the
And
identity.
identity.
Right or not?
Yes, sir.
So objects corresponding to things found in the real world, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Clear the point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So surrounding us in the real life everything available in the form of object. Wherever you are sitting, if you see the fan, cooler, AC, these are all one object, right or not?
Yes, sir.
They are what is it? Object. Fan is one object, right? So fan has some name, right?
Yes, sir.
That comes an identity. Fan has behavior. Fan is moving or not, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. And fan state, nothing but fan, which color, how many danas are there into that, right? Which color, brown color, red color, gray color, white color, right?
Yes, sir.
So that comes under what is it? Nothing but state. So every object have the state, behavior, identity, and surrounding us, whatever items we are able to see, that is available in the form of what is it? Object.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now we need to know, after understanding to whom we call object, an object consists of what things, right? Declaring objects, nothing but also called instantiating a class. So if you instantiate a class, it is called as what? Object.
Yes, sir.
Right. So here, what is it? Declaring, right? Declaring objects.
Object.
Also called what is it? Instantiating or what is it? Class. Declaring object is nothing but also called what is it? Instantiating or what is it?
Class.
Class. And using the object only, we can access each and everything, right or not?
Yes, sir.
We can say when an object of a class is created, the class is said to be instantiated, right? When an object of a class is what is it? Created. When an object of a class is what is it? Created. The class is said to be what is it? Instantiated. Right? All the instance share the what? Attributes and the behavior and the what is it? Behavior of the what is it? Class, of the behavior of the what is it?
Class.
And the behavior of the class. So all the instance means all the objects share the attributes and the behavior of the class. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
Example, I'm one person object. You're also one person object. Person class has behavior what? Speak, walk, run, laugh, eat. Tell me, you also eat or not eat?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You also laugh or not laugh?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
The laughing behavior, eating behavior, run behavior, walk behavior, speak behavior of the class shared by each object, which object belong to the person class, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So Rakesh Singh is the one object of person class. You are the one object of person class. So we both share the eating behavior, laughing behavior, run behavior, walk behavior, speak behavior of the person class, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's the point we need to understand. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
But the values of those attributes, but the values of those attributes, right? That is the state are unique. The state are unique, right? For each object. For each, what is it? Object.
Object.
Right.
Yes.
But the values of those attributes, that is what? State. State are the what? Unique. State are the what is it? unique for each object, right? Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Like example, right? The person, right? State attributes what age, weight, height, right? Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
A single class may have any number of instances. A single class can have any number of instances or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Like person is one class. So I'm the one object, you are the one object. So we become two object, we become two instance, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Correct. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So each object can be shared the what is it? All the instance share the what? Attributes and behavior of the class, right or not?
Yes.
And this is not required. Yes. All the instance means all the objects, right? All the instance means all the what is it? Objects, right? All the instances, all the instance and all the object, right? Share the attributes and behavior of the what? Class. Clear the point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And suppose person 1 object, person 2 object, person 3 object, person 4 object. So they all 4 object of the person going to access what is their age, weight, height. They're going to share what is their speak, walk, run, laugh, eat. These all comes in behavior. They all comes in what is state, nothing attributes, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. How we declare a variable? Same way we can declare the object also. But the object cannot be used unless until the object instantiated by using the what keyword?
New keyword.
Nuclear, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So here you observe. As we declare variables like type name, like what is it? Type, then name. As we declare variable, type is what? Int, string, double, float, then name, right or not?
Yes, sir.
As we declare variable like type, the name, right? This notifies the compiler that will use the name to refer to a data which type is what? This integer, this float, a double, like this. With a primitive variable, this declaration also reserve the proper amount of memory for the variable. If you create one variable of integer type, so it is going to allocate one memory space or not?
Yes, sir.
I hope we have learned 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit.
Yes,
Come on.
Yes,
in
sir, yes.
16, in 32, in 64. Come on, remember?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Correct. So for reference variable, there must be strictly a concrete class name, right? So if you are going to declare one object, then you'll be using at the type plus what type? The actual class. Your object belong to which class? Person class. Your object belong to student class. Then here what required? Student. And then what required here?
Name.
Nothing but what is it?
Object name.
Object name. Nothing but identity. The name of the what?
Object.
Student object, right or not? Name of the what? The person object. Name of the what? Any other object, right?
Yes, sir.
So if I'm writing student, I want here what? Student 1. So what is student one? It is a one object name.
Yes, sir.
And this object of the which type? Class. Class comes under value type or reference type, sir?
Reference type.
A reference
Reference
type. So that student one object variable name is a reference variable or non-reference variable?
Reference.
Reference variable. A reference variable by default contain what value if you are not providing initialization?
Null.
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 Absolutely. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And with null we cannot do any operation. So actually if you want to create the object, right, then you must need to instantiate that object declaration, right? So simply declaring a reference variable does not create an object. Simply declaring a reference variable does not create the actual object. Actual object create if you are going to instantiate that, right or not?
Yes, sir.
So the new operator, the new keyword instantiate a class by allocating memory for a new object and returning a reference to that memory, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you'll be writing now the word object name equals to new keyword and then new instance of which class? The class name, right?
Yes,
Understood? This one.
yes, sir.
This one, class name, object name is just object declaration, right? But
Yes,
object to be created if we create the instance using the new keyword. Writing object name equals to new, what is that? Class name, right?
Yes, sir.
Example, S1 is student 1 equals new student, or else the above this two-step declaration and the object creation by instantiating, you can do into single line by writing what? Student type S1
S1.
declaration and new instance
Instance.
creation, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then after that we can use what is it? Then after that we can use what is it?
Object.
Object dot all the method we can access, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Object dot method we can access. Which method we have in our program? Display. So student object, suppose S1 or student 1 dot display function can be accessed. And if it is a variable, which is the field, if it is allowed public, so this also can be accessed. Dot name dot age to initialize initial name value, initial what is the age value. Are you getting
Yes,
the
sir.
point?
Yes, sir.
We can initialize object member name and age by using the constructor. That also will learn. And if we initialize this name and age via constructor, so these two field we can make as what? Private by removing public. If we remove public and not having any access modifier or access specifier, then by default these members of the class are what is it? Private. So inside the class, any members are what is it?
Private.
Private. Any member functions are private if those members are not available with any access modifier or we can access
Specifier.
specifier. Are you getting my point or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Understood, boss?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So till here you people understood what we
Yes.
discussed
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
right now.
Yes, sir.
Right. So I'll conclude these all notes, I'll share it to you, right? And then work on this one. And all points you please need to remember, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then slowly we'll discuss in this class. We can have